Hi, we are going to be working out of our Lent book, so make sure you have that and a pencil. And then I'd like you to turn to page 33. I'm on this page here, where it says the third Saturday of Lent. The top part I'm going to have you read on your own, so there's this paragraph here, and then there's a area in purple I'd like you to read. Then the directions say, what are some things that might make a kid think he or she is better than other kids? So you're going to circle them here. So it gives you a list of things that kids might think like they're better than somebody else because of those. And then it says, now underline what really matters. So in the document that I sent you, so in the email, I want you to type those out, the things that really matter. So not necessarily like if you just have nice clothes, but what's really on the inside. And then number 3 says, keeping in mind what really matters, write your own prayer to God. So then you're going to write a prayer, or you can just type it to me, that's fine. And that's what you're doing on that page. And then I'm going to have you do 34 and 35. So turn the page. It says your weekly checkup. You do these each week, and it says keeping a Lenten resolution can be hard work. How hard have you worked on yours this week? Remember your Lenten resolution. If you turn back to page 7, you wrote it on the bottom here of something that you can do better during Lent. So you're thinking of what's something that it says, how hard have you worked on yours this week? So maybe you've done something or you've considered something that you didn't before. You're going to type that to me. And then on both of these pages, there's a scripture reading here and up here. And then you're answering questions below. I'm going to read those to you today. So follow along when I read. I'm going to start on page 34. And then there's going to be something that you have to answer after. So just listen as I read, and you should have your book out to page 34 and follow along with me. So this is a man's name. It's Aesop told this fable about a farmer and 2 sons. The farmer was near death. He was afraid that his sons would not take care of the farm after he was gone. So he called his sons to his bedside. My sons, he said, I have buried a treasure in one of my fields. Those were his last words. After his funeral, the sons hurried to the fields with their spades. They spent days and weeks digging. They dug here and there and everywhere, but they never did find a treasure. Had their father tricked them? The answer came at harvest time. The new, freshly turned soil produced a huge harvest. That year, both sons made much money from the harvest. Then what you're going to be doing at the bottom, so remember, you can write this and have your parents take a picture of it and send it to me, or you can just type it into the email that I sent. But the question says, can you think of a good moral for this story? Write it here. So when they ask for a moral, you're thinking about a lesson that happened in this story. So think about the sons and what happened with the father and what he had said to them. So you're writing a lesson maybe that they learned or that they're teaching others, and then you're going to reply to me there. Then look at the next page. So this is page 35. It's called Who Wants to Be Rich? So I'm going to read this top part for you, and then there's going to be a couple of things that you have to do here that you're going to respond in the email to me. So follow along as I read. St. Catherine Drexel was born in 1858 to a very wealthy family in Philadelphia. She liked parties and having fun while growing up, but her parents also taught her about helping the needy. In fact, 2 times a week, they would invite poor people to dinner at their house. St. Catherine grew up to be a caring and kind person. She founded a religious order of women called the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament. She spent her fortune, more than $20 million, on starting schools and missions for Native and African Americans. St. Catherine Drexel died in 1955 and was declared a saint in 2000. Her feast day is March 3rd. So that gives you a little bit of background information about her. Then you're kind of thinking about your own life and relating the story that they said to your own life. There's 2 questions you're going to be answering. The first one says, have you ever thought what you would do with $1 million? I'm sure that a lot of you have. It's fun to make plans, and most of us would probably think of what we could buy for ourselves. But this time, you must spend your $1,000,000 on helping the poor. Write some ways you might do that. So I want you to think of specific examples of things that you could do to help someone. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the poor, but someone who's in need. So don't just write, I can help others. I want you to think of something very specific that you would be able to help people with if you had money or you had something that you could donate. Then below that, it says, you may not have $1,000,000 to give away, but how could you help the poor today? Write your idea here, then do it. So then down here, think of something that's not going to cost you any money. We've talked about some of these in class, so I'm down here. But think of some things that you could do for somebody else or for the poor, like they said, that wouldn't cost you anything. So looking back at the email, make sure you're doing the correct pages and the correct responses, and then you can send that to me.